Scotty Jones joins us from Cottesloe Tennis Club to talk about the very last round of the WA Men's State League this weekend. Big match up against Hensman Park. 5 teams into 4. What are you expecting from this weekend, Scotty? Big match, as I made mention. Hensman Park have been a perennial finalist for the best part of 15 years. You're right on the cusp of sneaking into the finals. What's this weekend going to look like?
Oh, it's a huge weekend. I guess it's all come down to this. 14 rounds, you couldn't ask for much more. Expecting a really tough match. They're a great team, like you said. They're really deep. I think they're sitting second, so they're sitting pretty good. But yeah, very good team. It's going to be a huge match.
As I made mention, 5 teams trying to slide into 4 positions, and it is up for grabs this weekend. Let's talk about some of the matchups this weekend. You're in great shape, as if everyone would know. Scotty won the WA Open only a matter of a couple of weeks ago, so a real feather in your cap. And we spoke off air just recently about some of the names adorning the honour board of the WA Open. Stefan Edberg is on that, Leighton Hewitt's on that. I mean, massive compliment to you to win the WA Open. Form's good. Who do you match up against Hensman this weekend?
I think it would usually be a match up against Zach Hitzstein. Played him a lot of times now. Always a tough match against Zach. So steady, played a lot of big matches, especially State League, like you said, for Hensman. That'll be the match up for me, but yeah, looking forward to it.
Will Hahn, your number 2 player, big serving left-hander, a lot of talent. Will comes into this weekend on hard. Does he prefer to play on the hard at certainly at Hensman Park, or does he prefer to play on the grass? And who will he meet?
I think he doesn't really mind either way with the grass and hard, because as a lefty he can kind of fizz that ball up quite high, but then also on the grass he like his big boom and serve, so he can move that all over the shop. So I think it doesn't really matter for him. His matchup probably Reece Johnson. I think he's been playing too. Such a crafty player. Had a lot of battles with him myself, so that'll be another really beautiful matchup. That.
Now, Reece Johnson, for our listeners, Reece reached the number 1 NCAA rankings in doubles when he was at college only about 3 or 4 years ago. He came off the back of some issues around his hip, but back to playing some really good tennis down there at Hensman Park. If you're going to win this weekend, Scott, if you rub your crystal ball, it's going to be tight. You'd give yourself maybe 1 or 2 at the top order for Cottesloe. Down at 3 and 4 is really going to be the telling matches for this weekend's tie. Where do you think potentially you can make some inroads this weekend?
Yeah, like you said at the top, I think good matchups for us. But down low as well, the guys have been competing so well down there. Like Timmy Wood, he's been having a great year down low. Luca's playing good tennis. So I think that's going to be a huge matchup at 3. Probably him versus Matt Burden, I would guess. But he's been having a stellar year as well. So that's hopefully where we can get some inroads, and you never know, it comes down to game sets and gets real tight, but yeah, that's where we're going to try to pick up a lot.
Of course, the matchups at the top end of the doubles, so Zach Hitzstein and Reece Johnson, former NCAA number 1 ranked player at college. You and Will Hahn. Again, what's the secret to your success playing alongside Will this year? There's going to be a terrific matchup at the top order, and how do you see that playing out?
Yeah, well, Hensman got really good doubles, like you just said. I mean, they go pretty deep. They usually try to bring in a couple of players as well, a couple of dub specialists, I guess. But for me and Will, I think we just know each other really well. We're great mates, a lot of banter. Trained together for a lot of years before I went to college. So I think we just get on so well, and our games complement each other pretty well. The right-left is great. So.
Now, Cottesloe hasn't won a state league literally since you left to go to college, Scotty, so there's a lot riding on this weekend's results for you to slide into the finals and have a real chance at playing in this year's certainly semi-finals and grand final. Is there a lot of pressure? Is there a lot of talk around the club, particularly on your shoulders, being the number 1 dominant player at the WA State League level this year? I mean, how are you feeling from a club perspective and a pressure perspective moving into this weekend?
In terms of pressure from the club, I think it's not really there. I think it's more support. Yeah, always backing you in. I guess, I mean, yeah, there's pressure, I guess, playing at the top of, I mean, wherever you play, whatever it is. You kind of try to lead from the front, I guess. But, I mean, I like that and like to go out there and kind of put it on myself to get it done for the club. And but no, from the club, they just back you in every time.
It's a real Davis Cup atmosphere at the State League. The number 1 players, all the players can sit on the court and support and give some advice to those of your teammates that are playing, as can the State League manager. What's it like sitting on the court, and what advice do you give your players? Is it a matter of just sort of keeping them positive, or do you actually talk tactics when you're out on court supporting the rest of the team?
I mean, I love sitting out there. I love the analytical side, as we've talked about before. No, I'd talk about anything really. I think whatever the match kind of is dictating, whether it's tactics, whether it's more an attitude or mental. It can go all kinds of ways. For me, I'm quite the tactician, I would like to say, so I try to get pretty picky with little things and things that I can help the players with. That's probably more to where I try to direct the traffic on court.
If you were to give me one answer this weekend, need a win to get into the finals, what's the result looking like for Cottesloe?
I'm going to back us in. I'll say we'll win. We'll say 4-2 win for the club, and I think we can step up and slide in.
Scotty Jones declaring a 4-2 win over Hensman Park to slide into this year's WA State League finals. Thank you, Scotty. Looking forward to the results this weekend.
Thanks, Patsy.